Hi, in today's noding session we are going to do some gating techniques. So first I'm going to create a MIDI node, and in gating I do not mean that the gating effect like a tremolo or something like this, or the trance gate or this kind of effects. I mean the gate output of the MIDI node, and how we can create custom gates, and how we can do pretty interesting stuff using gates, and how we can do complex envelopes and the likes. So first of all, I'm going to create a gain in here, create the outputs using the O key, and I'm going to set the volume to 0, because first we are going to check what the gate does. And for this we are going to use an LED. You can see it's currently dark, and if I press the gate it's bright. And on the scope we can see that if I press the key it gets high, now it jumps back to low, but it's better to see if the scope is in frequency mode, and I give it a frequency of 1 Hz. And if I push the button we get a high value, if it's released we get a low value. And we can also see on the scope that the high value is +1, you can see it here, and the low value is 0. So 1 and 0 are our favorite numbers, because they are easy to do math with. So 1 multiplied by 0 is 0, 1 subtracted from 1 is 0. I don't know, it's pretty easy mathematics, and you can do a lot with it. So you can see that the gate is nothing else, just a value of 1, and it's going to work. But what else do you have with a value which outputs values between 1 and 0? Yeah, a square wave LFO. You can see it's 1, and there's no low value currently because it's set to 0 Hz frequency. Let's give it some frequency there, and now we have a pulsing wave, 1 0 1 0, and this can be used as a gate with gates too. And if the frequency is not this straight, but it's controlled by an ADSR or an envelope follower, then we can do some crazy stuff. And what I'm doing lots of times is that I convert gates to triggers, which is 1 value for only 1 sample time. So I create this by creating a multiply node and a change node below it, and do this. But since the latest release of Alpha Forever, we have these nice patches, and we have a conversion G to T, and we also have a mutation in which it tells us if it's going to up or down. But currently we only need this. So you can see that inside it's the same as I did before. So G in, T out, and let's use an envelope follower, and it will decay like this. We can see it on the scope. If I press the button, we get a nice decaying curve. And if we plug this into the frequency modulation of the LFO multi, we can, and I also want to plug the gate into the gate of the LFO multi, so we always start with the initial value, and the frequency modulation will be driven by a crossfader, and the envelope is going to go into the into the X input of that crossfader, like this. and I can set the minimum using the A input and the maximum value using the B input, but I like to do it like putting an add node here and add the minimum value to the B input, and only tell how much I wanna how much higher I want the B. So this is the min, and this is the modulation depth. Sorry, my keyboard is a bit crazy. It's in a crazy position because I need to be close to this microphone, and it's not the most comfortable position ever. So let's say that we are going to be between 0 and 6 Hz, and modulation should be between plus 0 and 6. So if I plug this to 6 and this is on 6, then the maximum frequency is going to be 12. But the minimum should be lower, and if I press the gate now, I put an LED here so you see it. You can see how the frequency starts high and gets to a low value, even higher. And the envelope is like that. It's driven by the envelope. And why do I call this gating? It's gating because I can use an ADSR and plug this output into the gate, and using the decay only, we get a shape like this. We can even have a sustain and a release phase. And even an attack. I think this is pretty cool. And what it sounds like, let's use an oscillator. Plug the pitch into the pitch input. I move these guys up, velocity to 1, and put a filter here right after it. Move these guys to the side, and I create a crossfader like this there. Plug it into the cutoff modulation. Create a knob between 0 and 128, and just like before, I add the value here like that, and create another value here. This is going to be the cutoff, and this is going to be the env mod like this. And this should be between 0 and 128 as well. And if I do it like this, that this goes into the B input, so we see the envelope and the output comes here. And the cutoff modulation, it goes a bit up. And we still have to do one thing, because currently we are pretty not controlling the volume, so I'm going to multiply the output of this filter with a multiplication, and I create an ADSR which is going to be the volume envelope like this. And if I hit a key now, we don't hear anything but see the signal. Let's set the volume to some reasonable level. This is -3 dB. Yeah, this is something, and this is polyphonic. Okay, so we have this little setup. What else can we do? We can also create something that is we have this trigger, and we have a trigger to gate node here. And what we can do with the trigger to gate node is that sorry, I have to clean the patch up a bit so I have place to connect things to. So I put a mixer here, and I will use some dummy nodes that help me to visualize stuff. So I create another mixer into this M4 input, which I'm not going to use to make sound, but I will be able to connect a scope here. Yeah, like this. This will make, this just ensures that we are plugged to this output and the things are connected to the calculation and they are processing. So the output of this trigger comes into the gate, into the B input, and if I press a key, you can see that we have a signal for a moment, like that. That's the trigger signal. And if I connect this gate trigger to gate node here and set it to some value, then the output will be always high as long this knob is. So it's now on 210 milliseconds, so we have a high value for 210 milliseconds. And we can use this more for many things, and let me show you these things. We just have to put an envelope follower behind it and plug the modulated time output to the envelope follower's attack modulation input, and let's make this to the highest possible value, the modulation. And if we hit a key now, we don't see a result because this is 0, so let's set it up. And now we have a ramp. The ramp is always as long as this trigger to gate is. And we can also add release to it, and this is an HR envelope. And we can also do something else, like using this HR envelope. So we can set a rise time and we can set a fall time, and we can combine these with an LFO, like here. We take a trigger and plug it there, and what we have to do is to convert the frequency to milliseconds, but I think we have a note here for that, frequency to millisecond conversion. Yeah, let's open that up, and it really is just a division, but it does what we want. So, and what we need is to use another gate to trigger node and plug it there. And the modulation time should be as much as this. And let's see what we have now. I don't know if this is right or not. Let's see the output of the LFO. That's pretty... yeah, this pitch should be alright. Yeah, we should never reach the maximum. So we have to set this a bit lower, and now we have an always attacking thing. And if we multiply this value by a knob, then we can set the attack time, but this is not even the right place to do, so I did this. We should multiply this value with that knob. So this way we can create the attack time. Yeah, that's nice. And using, so this is 0% attack time, this is 100% attack time, and we can set the length of these of the high part of the gate using a multiplication and the knob here. Like that. And if we subtract this multiplication from the original time, we can get the maximum release time. So now we always have a nice fade out, no matter how long our little waveform is, and we still have the control over the attack, which is handy. And I have the idea to put this frequency there, and now, yeah, this looks good, and also the gate there. Yeah, this way you can see that we have this kind of control, and if it's faster, it's more responsive. Yeah. So we can tweak the attack, we can tweak the hold, and we can also tweak the release by multiplying this by a value between 0 and 1. Wow, I think this is lots of control for an LFO, and it's just a square of LFO. So let me clean this up. I remove the scope because we know what it does now, and I'm not even using an envelope follower modulated here, so I think I can remove it, and I'm just using an envelope follower, and this comes into the A input, into the input, the gate, this comes into the A, and this comes into the R. And I think this is pretty interesting now. So this is the release phase, this is the attack phase, and this is the hold time, and this is the frequency. So I create a knob here with frequency, and then we are fine. And yeah, this part looks a bit messy, so I'm putting a cone here and clean it up a bit. And I think I like this way. Yeah, those notes are aligned like this. And what this sounds like is pretty straightforward. I plug this here, and let's listen to it. I don't know if... Oh, should be a bit faster. A bit lower. And if we plug these this frequency modulation there, and let's use this for amplitude modulation as well. So clean it up a bit, like that. I think this is pretty nice, and we only hear an oscillator now, but we can make it a bit more interesting, at least a bit more rich, like that. And I move this part up a bit. Oh. Sorry, my bad. Selection was wrong. And put a mixer here. Let's make it half as loud. Yay. That doesn't need to be connected, and let's add some reverb. I also want to add some noise here. And I want the attack to be longer as time goes by, so I create an ADSR, plug it into this attack part, put it there, edit a gate, somehow like this. And I can invert it like this. So yeah. This is our little patch for today. The sonic wise it's pretty simple, so it's only two oscillators, saw wave and triangle wave, but I think the patch itself is pretty interesting because this modulation does so many things, and only based on a simple gate and the square LFO, two square LFOs, and we changed we are changing the shape real time. We are changing lots of things in real time, and yeah, I like this patch. Oh, I didn't select one mode again, but okay. So you can download this patch and have fun with it. I don't know if this connection is somehow comparable to the math node, the math module in Eurorack. I think it does something similar and has a one-shot function, and I think I created this already, and it's maybe this LFO modulator combo is the same as this. No, it's not. But I think I created a custom LFO in this patch pack. Envelope LFO polarizer maybe? No, this is a different thing. Let me see it up, because envelope LFO attack release, maybe? Yeah, this is something similar, but as far as I see, I did some things differently, but it has a one-shot function as well. Yeah, this should be something comparable to these maths, and probably we will do a node like this because it sounds really fun and I love it. Anyways, I never used the maths node, I just know this from YouTube and the internet. I'm not this Eurorack guy, but I like this patch, and I hope you will like this patch too. I'm gonna share it with you, and I hope you will have fun using Alpha forever, and if you have any questions, tell us. If you like these videos, subscribe and share them, and help us spread the word that this software is worth it. So, thanks for watching and happy noding, and bye bye!